Hey, how's it going, guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're going to be doing a $900 gaming laptop that honestly is one of the best ones for the price you can get right now.
Very excited to check this out, but before we get into this video, let's hear a word from today's sponsor, wait for it, the Lapao external monitor.
We thought this would be the perfect sponsor for this video because, well, with it being a laptop and only having one screen, we got another one right here.
This is a USB Type-C power external monitor that is 15.6 inches in size and has a 1080p resolution while coming in at a very respectable price point. This thing is going to be really awesome if you're a content creator and you need dual monitors on the go. Maybe you want to live stream from this laptop, you can definitely do that, and you can use this to, well, read your chat. We'll be taking a look at this later in the video, but how about we go ahead and talk more about this laptop first.
So this laptop here is the Acer Predator Helios 300. So if you search this right now, I mean, you can use our link down below and find the exact one, but you're gonna find a lot of different options. That's what's cool about laptops. There's so many different variants. You can get it with an i7, like a 2070. I mean, you can go really high end with these laptops, but this one here has a 9th gen i5. It's a 9300H, which is honestly a really good processor right now. It has a 1660 Ti in it, which we're very excited about because that is a really, really good graphics card. And honestly, this thing's gonna be able to do things like even live stream, as Matt mentioned. I mean, you'll be able to do basically all the things you'd wanna do on a desktop with this little portable guy right here. The display is a 15.6 inch, 120 hertz, 3 millisecond response time, 1080p screen. So this is actually a really good, basically gaming laptop screen. It's kind of crazy that laptops have came this far to have screens that are this thin, this relatively bezel-less design that's not like insane and taking up half the screen. And honestly, I'm excited to actually try to be able to play games on it and, you know, play them well. We have 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM. We have a 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD, so this thing's gonna be lightning fast with all your applications and loading up Windows and everything and restarting, which you often have to do with laptops. And there's a lot of really cool features on this as well that Matt's gonna actually go over.
Now this thing is actually really upgradable as well. You can always upgrade that RAM from 8 to 16 gigs if you want to, and it also includes 2 SSD slots and also a slot for a, well, hard drive or a 2.5 inch SSD, whatever you wanted to go with. If you want to go all SSD storage in this thing, you definitely could. It's 2020. It's always a good idea to go all SSD storage, especially in a laptop. But that is one of the great features about this, and it does come in at, well, not super thick. I mean, we've seen some thicker laptops than this that have honestly lesser specs. This actually is pretty respectable for 15.6 inch laptop. And also, if you're in the heat of the moment and you want to do some hardcore gaming and you want to make sure your laptop stays nice and cool, there's a turbo mode. Now, stand back. It's going to get kind of intense in here. You ready? It just blows you out of the way. It's just, you're done. But basically, it just ramps up the fan so you make sure your laptop is staying cool, which is pretty cool. So we'll turn that off real quick so it's not very loud.
He said it's cool.
It's very cool. Ha, get it? But with a lot of other features, this laptop comes with basically a key, which I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of, that opens up the software that it comes with, that reads you out the CPU temperature, GPU temperature, and all the other stuff, all the system usage. Acer has a really good suite of software that comes in the laptop. It's not crazy bloatware or anything. The one thing I do have to knock them for, though, is it does come with Norton, which is, you know, not great, but you can mute it in the background. Norton has come a long way where you can actually mute it in the background from doing anything. So when we're testing it, you know, you get the utmost performance. But overall, the software is good. There's not a lot of intrusive bloatware on this thing. And overall, I think this thing is going to be a really good performer. So what we're going to be doing is taking this thing and doing a couple of game tests. We're going to be testing it in Shadow of the Tomb Raider for like an ultimate stress test. We're going to be playing Overwatch. We're going to be playing Fortnite. We're going to be playing CSGO to give you the suite of esports titles you most likely would probably play on a laptop like this. And we're going to be doing it with the Lapao monitor that's over there. Yeah, Jackson, you see that? That thing right there. We're going to be unboxing that thing real quick, making a laptop setup, and then diving into some games. So how about we do that real quick?
All right, guys. So actually, really quickly, we were able to set up this Lapao 15.6 inch screen, and as you can see, we actually are using the little cover that it comes with to actually support it. It has 2 little notches in here, so we can actually change, you know, if the screen's facing up really far, if we kind of want it slanted, or you could even put it straight down. But yeah, literally we just plugged in the USB Type-C for power, and then HDMI, regular HDMI to mini HDMI, and honestly, it just worked out flawlessly. We did have to go into the display settings, which in case when you guys get this, I'll show you real quick. You see we have both monitors. We can actually change like the height and stuff in case we want it to be, you know, higher or lower. And if we go down to here, we can do extend these displays. So normally it's on duplicate, so it's just gonna show this screen twice, which you could do, but we wanted to do extend so that we can do stuff like this. We can actually drag certain things over to the other display. As Matt said earlier, we could actually even do live streaming. I could pull up a game in my main display and then pull up Twitch chat and OBS right over here. This actually has a webcam built into the computer itself, so that's actually pretty awesome. This little PAL 15.6-inch screen actually serves a really great purpose for anybody who'd be wanting to have a PC like this, or if you're even a PC person on the go, this right here would work out amazing to be able to test computers that you don't actually even have a monitor for, or even just if you're doing work on the go and you need to have multi-monitors for extra workload, this is the way to go.
So yeah, guys, really like this monitor. If you're interested in buying it, link in the description down below. But we're going to go ahead and test some games on this Acer Helios 300.
Alright guys, so we are in CSGO, of course, and we're playing on high/max settings. And we're doing 1920 by 1080. We got the refresh rate correct and everything. As you can see in the menu, we're getting some good FPS. But we're gonna go ahead and launch into just a regular deathmatch on Dust 2, which would be a really good test for this. We can see we have both monitors running it right now. We're actually recording at the same time too, so keep in mind, you could get a little bit of a better frame rate, possibly, but we are actually doing an on-computer recording, and we're recording with the camera over here, so we can kind of do a little bit of everything. All right, and wow, this thing is like smooth. So we're getting about 113, 120. Of course, if you were wanting to actually play this like competitively, you would really lower some settings because we are maxed out in this game right now, and we're recording. We have every application in the world open right now too. Like we legit, I think, have like 12 to 13 different pretty big tasks open. So we're kind of like max, worst case scenarioing this right now, honestly. So definitely keep that in mind. Come on. Ooh. Oh,
wow, he stole that from me.
Pissed.
Lol. You're gonna whip on the turbo mode.
I might actually increase FPS a little bit.
Mode does add a lot of noise, but I mean, if you want the max cooling, you never know. We also are running that GPU on the extreme overclock, so I don't 100% know how that's performing. Those like temps are fine though. It's pretty impressive. It's not like normally a laptop be at like 90C. Kills. One upgrade I probably would do with this laptop is 16 gigs of RAM. I mean, that could be one thing to consider, especially if you're gonna be doing like considering streaming or anything. Like 16 gigs is probably minimum, and that shouldn't be that more expensive an upgrade, especially if you decide to configure this from like Acer's website instead of going to Amazon and just buying the one model that's pre-made. You can do that as well. You probably pay a little bit of a premium, but that's something to consider. That's an easy upgrade to get probably a little bit better performance too. Nice try.
All right, guys, that was CSGO though. Honestly, pretty impressive. Like we said, we could lower some settings to get that 120 hertz and all, but we just weren't feeling that. And we're gonna go ahead and stop now.
All right, guys, now we are testing out Fortnite on pro settings. We are in a team rumble match right now, and there's some weird things with this laptop. We're starting to see that it's not getting like the best frames for a $1,000 machine. I mean, 100 plus FPS, I mean, it's pretty good. We are running on pro settings right now. So there could be some optimization issues with this new Fortnite update, the Chapter 2 Season 2 update. Not sure if that's to blame. Let me know in the comment section down below if you're experiencing issues with your PC. But we're used to seeing numbers around the 150-ish mark, but we're sometimes dipping to 60, which is pretty strange. So we'll keep an eye on that when we test some other games and see if the trend continues. But we're gonna run around and try to get some kills here. We are running on the turbo fan speed, which we'll see if it actually makes a big difference. The processor was getting really hot though, so we'll see if we can turn it off. It doesn't seem to be up. There it goes. It's hitting an 81C. Let's see if we wait a little bit longer what the actual temperature gets. But I can't think that it's actually thermal throttling though, because I mean, we had the other Acer Nitro in-house that was getting like, well, I don't know, like up to 90C a majority of the time, and it was not having any sort of thermal throttling issues really. So kind of weird. I don't know if there's some software going on here or it's just Fortnite itself. That's a variable to keep in mind. Fortnite could be really weird right now, but we'll see what the other games we test if there is some consistent issues with this machine right now. Going in. We need some action. Oh, come on, you killed him? Thanks.
There's some stuff going on up here.
Ooh.
Some in the building, it looks like.
Okay, there has to be something wrong here. Banana. All right, guys, as you can tell, Fortnite's running a little bit weird. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna kill this guy real quick, and then we might look into this and see if there's some issues. And if there is, you're probably not seeing this section at all in the video. So we're gonna go ahead and do some testing real quick and see if we can figure out what's going on.
Hey guys, Editing Matt here. So when we were doing the benchmarking of this laptop, we were a little bit concerned with the performance considering it has a, well, 1660 Ti. So we reached out to Acer to comment on this, and after a little bit of troubleshooting, they ended up sending us another stick of memory because this laptop only runs single channel memory, and we managed to add that second stick of memory to give this thing a total capacity of 16 gigs, and we reran the Fortnite benchmark because that's what we had installed at the time, because we were initially just going to run with the laptop's performance as is and chalk it up to the i5 being a bottleneck. But apparently this single channel memory issue is one of the main reasons why you were not getting really good results in Fortnite, because after upgrading the RAM, we got well over 20 to 30 plus FPS. We added so many more frames, sometimes reaching 200, which this system was hovering around 90 most of the time. So in some cases, we were getting over 100 FPS just by adding another 8 gigs of memory. Now, I do think if Acer was actually configuring this laptop with 2 4 gig sticks, you would still see that big of a significant boost, even if you were just running 8 gigs of RAM. Having those 2 sticks in dual channel would probably add a lot of performance to this machine. So as you watch the rest of this video, the main thing that we're going to recommend is you go with the i7 model because of the bottleneck with the i5, which is still the case in some games. But if you do buy this model at $900, which is a great price, I would highly suggest spending the extra 30 or 40 bucks on another 8 gig kit or maybe another 4 gig DIMM, because if you do that, you will experience way better results than we did show in the benchmark run. So as you watch the rest of these benchmarks, keep that in mind. Upgrading this thing with just 1 stick of memory will significantly improve the performance, which is something that just kind of went over our head when we were doing the benchmark. So how about we go back to the rest of the benchmarks?
All right, so we are doing Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Now keep in mind, we are like pretty much maxed out right now. We're on high settings, 1080p, and you know, we're getting a respectable frame rate for this laptop. We are recording as well. We're actually using the app and recording and everything. So, you know, we might see a little bit of dips because of that. We're actually finally seeing good usages, like relatively equivalent. The 1660 Ti does seem like it's being held back a little bit by this i5. I mean, not a ton, but I do feel like maybe going with that i7 version, if you're going to be strictly gaming and maybe even trying to do things like live stream, you might see a better frame rate, you know, going with that i7.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider is like worst case scenario AAA title in high settings. As we come down here, we're probably going to see more dips down to, as you can see, 30-ish FPS. And you can see that CPU being pinged at 100%. Clearly the i5 is going to hold you back in some games. So again, as Jackson mentioned, I would highly suggest that i7 if you're going to be playing games like this. The extra core count and probably clock speed would be very beneficial.
Yeah, I mean, because you can see like right now, we're literally at 47%. GPU usage with the, I mean, we're just pegged at 100%. So we're definitely seeing areas of improvement as far as the processor goes. Because the 1660 Ti is a really good GPU right now. And you know, it should definitely be able to handle a higher frame rate than this. I just think it's held back a little bit.
So one thing we did test was a $700 Acer Nitro laptop, which honestly was getting not the exact same results, but pretty close for a little bit less money from Acer. So that could be an option to consider if you mainly play like esports titles. It had a 1650 as opposed to the 1660 Ti, and that was getting really decent results. But again, I really think if you are going to go with this 1660 Ti model, you definitely should go with the i7. It does seem to be held back by that i5. So for the price premium that you're getting, it might make more sense to bump this up to like a $1,000, $1,100 laptop.
All right, so this is a pretty decent little benchmark with all the people talking and whatnot in the game. So we're gonna go ahead and do one last benchmark and see how it does.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the last game we're gonna be testing is Overwatch. We're gonna dive into a 3v3, basically team deathmatch. Is that team deathmatch? Yeah, that worked. 3v3, we're gonna dive into it on high settings just to get another esports example. Hopefully we're around the 100 plus FPS mark on high settings. We'll see when we dive into it, but again, there's just some weird things about this laptop. We'll probably leave alternate suggestions down below from Acer that we do suggest, and maybe some other options that you could consider. All right, now that we're running around in Overwatch, we're getting, well, pretty decent numbers. Oh my God, I'm gonna get destroyed right here. There we go. But we're getting about 120 plus FPS, which is hey, more than enough to play Overwatch. Oh, and this is actually an elimination style game, so you know I gotta wait now to get back into the game. We'll see how this goes. But I mean, the frame rate is actually pretty solid. I mean, Overwatch, you can expect way higher frame rates too at high settings, probably like upwards of 160 to 170-ish FPS. But you know, we're gonna give this a good solid run. Maybe I'll play a little bit better this time. Oh my god, I got attacked from the back. I tried my best there. But I mean, in terms of performance, guys, I mean, this has been one of the most solid games that we tested. Maybe because this isn't as CPU bound as some other games out there. But I mean, 100 plus FPS on this 120 hertz screen is definitely more than ideal. And that kind of wraps up what we're going to be doing for some benchmarking. How about we go ahead and just talk about what we thought of this laptop and maybe consider some different alternatives that you could look at.
All right, so as you guys could tell, I mean, honestly, I played games, you know, I did decently well, but for like the $900 range, we feel like we've seen laptops, especially from Acer even, because we've tested a few that are a little bit cheaper and actually ran like just as good, if not better. And we're heavily thinking that it's because of the i5 that's in this.
So if you are considering a laptop from Acer, this is by no means a poorly built laptop. The laptop's really high quality, everything else is pretty good about it, but I would just highly suggest upgrading to the i7 version because from doing some research, you can gain a good like 15 to 20-ish FPS in some games, especially like Fortnite, which was starting to get below that 100 FPS mark. You could probably stay closer above that 100 FPS mark most of the time with the i7, and the 1660 Ti just needs to be able to stretch its legs a little bit more. So I would highly suggest, especially if Acer's watching this, to maybe consider when 10th gen processors come out, see how those i5s are doing. But this 9th gen i5 is just, it just doesn't really cut it with the 1660 Ti. And you may want to consider a different option from Acer or another laptop company if you are looking to pick up a sub $1,000 gaming laptop.
And huge thanks again to Lapao for sending over this really cool, basically matching, same size and everything, external display. It actually works really well and it looks really fluid and everything, and honestly it was really useful for even doing this test right here because we were able to see how much each component was actually being used and utilized and everything, which is really nice for this because we were doing some troubleshooting trying to figure out how to get more frame rate.
So if you are interested in buying a laptop, links in the description down below. Same thing for the Lapao external monitor, links are in the description down below. And if you guys did like this video, drop a like,
drop a comment,
and subscribe. This is different. I don't know how I feel about this.
See you guys later.
Goodbye?
Peace
Question
out,
mark?
guys. Like peace. All
Sure,
right.
yeah,
See you guys
we'll go with
next
that.
one.
That was weird.
All right.
Sorry. Sorry, don't unsub.
I'm Gabe.